So I urge my young brothers and sisters to read Surah Yusuf and to understand it over and over and over again. Allah gives us a lesson for the youth. Allah tells us about Yusuf alayhi salam in the beginning. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And when Yusuf alayhi salam reached his adolescence, his strong youth, we gave him immediately hikmah, hukm, wisdom and knowledge. Listen carefully, brothers and sisters. We gave him wisdom and knowledge. There is a difference between wisdom and knowledge. You can go to university. You can learn so much information. You can get your masters and doctorates in information, in knowledge. You can write books and books and books. But knowledge without wisdom is nothing. Nothing. And wisdom cannot be learnt or taught at school. Wisdom is learned through training. Wisdom is morals, values, character, adab. Just like the mothers of these great four imams taught them, they said, learn the adab from your teacher before you learn his knowledge. We hear about many people who have lots of knowledge, but they are criminals. What are they? Criminals. They are con artists. Con artists. Like people who hack into security systems on the computer. They are brains. They call them nerds, but they are called criminal nerds, cool nerds. They have a lot of information, remarkable knowledge. They are hackers, con artists, thieves. They have lots of knowledge, but they have no wisdom. So the first thing among the youth, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings our attention to, is wisdom and then knowledge. In fact, He put wisdom before knowledge when He said, آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. We gave Yusuf wisdom and knowledge. So wisdom came before knowledge. Wisdom is when you are able to communicate with someone and bring a change. Wisdom is when there is a conflict between two people, you are able to reconcile between them with a few words. Wisdom is when someone opposes you with an idea or a view, you are able to win their hearts and their minds with a few words, with a few characteristics. Wisdom is when you are able to transform an enemy into an ally. Wisdom is when you are able to make someone who hates you love you or respect you without even working hard for it, without needing to go into a group of some sort or a gang of some sort. Wisdom is when you are able to have an elderly person listen to your words without that elderly person feeling that he or she is being disrespected by you. This is wisdom. Being able to say what to say at the right time and not just saying everything and anything. The opposite of wisdom is going on the internet. The opposite of wisdom is going on the internet and creating for yourself a username so no one knows who you are, and a profile of some sort, and then cutting and pasting pieces of information from different sources and making fatwas left, right and center, and you don't even know what you are saying because it's easy to cut and paste, and because you're hiding behind a username, it's easy for you to speak and talk and throw things without thinking about their ramifications. And this is done so often on the internet. We are going to address these issues tonight, inshallah. آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. We gave him wisdom and knowledge. What happened to him? Then Allah, immediately after that, He mentions something. He says, وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And this is how we reward the good doers. A young person cannot receive wisdom and knowledge without doing good in his community or her community, without doing good in their family, without exerting ihsan. Muhsin literally means someone who works with the consciousness as if he can see Allah. But although you cannot see Allah, you know that Allah can see you. Ihsan. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. To worship Allah as if you can see Him. But although you cannot see Him, you know that He sees you. It is amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about Yusuf alayhi salam, ashuddahu, when he was 17, 18 years old, saying we gave him wisdom and knowledge, and the reason why we gave him wisdom and knowledge is because he is among the people who are muhsinin, al-ihsan. He worships Allah as if he can see Him. Although he cannot see Him, he knows that Allah can see Yusuf. Many young people ask me, they say, how can I increase my iman? How can I stay away from haram? Many parents, they ask me, they say, my son, my daughter, they go they hide in their bedroom behind the computer, and I don't know what they do. I don't know who their friends are. They learn certain tricks. You know, I come into the bedroom and suddenly the screen changes. I don't know what they did with this new technology. I don't know how to use it. They know how to hide things. And I think that, and then they change the page like this to a website about Islam, for example. Or a website, one brother said to me, he goes, I entered the bedroom and suddenly my daughter changed the screen, went flip like that, flip. Because I've never learned this. I never knew that a screen can be flipped like that without doing this. It just flips. And what was it? How to be a respectful daughter. Subhanallah. Says, I don't know what to do. What do I do, brother? I say to them, sadly you are limited. There's only so much a parent can do. The reality is, you cannot watch them 24/7. But we can instill in our children something from a very young age. That although I cannot see you 24/7, your mother cannot see you 24/7, there is someone who sees you not only 24/7, but also knows you better than what you know yourself, and is closer to you than your own jugular vein in his knowledge. He knows what you are feeling. He knows what you are thinking. He knows what you are planning. He knows the things that you are going to plan before you plan them. He is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He has placed two angels, one on the right, one on the left, Raqib and Atid. They are watching every move. ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. Not a single word does he or she utter, whisper, except that there are two angels, two watchers and witnesses, writing every single word, every single letter. So there is a watcher over you. And the young people need to understand that the thing which prevented Yusuf alayhi salam from harm is that he had ihsan, that he knew that Allah watches him all the time. Muraqabatullah. You know the story of a young boy named I think his name was Suhail. He was only 7 or 8 years old. I think it was a tabi'i. And he went to the masjid where they used to get knowledge of the imam. The imam noticed in this young boy an extreme intelligence. So one day he gave him extra attention. So the parents started to complain, how come you give this Suhail better attention? And it says that he gave them, each one of them, a bird. And he said to them, go and let this bird free. But you have to go to a place where no one can see you. You know, tell these stories to your children. You know, they make sense to them. And everybody went. After a few moments, the children came back, except for Suhail. At sunset, Suhail came back and the bird was still with him and he was crying. And the Imam said, why are you crying and why is the bird still with you? He said, Ya Imam, my uncle taught me some words and they don't leave me. Allahu shahidi, Allahu nadhiri, Allahu ma'i. Allah watches me, Allah is my witness, Allah is with me wherever I go. And you said, let this bird go where no one can see me. I went everywhere. I went up the tree, I hid behind things, I went behind the rock, I went everywhere. But everywhere I went, I knew that Allah is watching me, seeing me, and He's with me. So how can you ask me to let this bird go? I brought it back. And so he let it go afterwards. Young children need to have this instilled in them, that Allah watches you and is with you wherever you are. He is with you in His knowledge, wherever you are. And if the fear of Allah is not instilled in youth, then my brothers and sisters, it is very difficult to stay away from harm. The youth need to have this fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, وراودته التي هو في بيتها عن نفسه وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك. The woman that was looking after Yusuf alayhi salam, she was the wife of the Aziz, he was the person in charge of the finances of Egypt. She was very beautiful, she was young, and she was very popular. She was rich and she had power. Yusuf alayhi salam, on the other hand, he was extremely beautiful, extremely attractive, beyond measure. He was young, strong, and he was a slave. He was unknown. He was hardly seen. He was hidden. So, he had nothing to fear. He didn't fear about his reputation. He had no reputation. He didn't fear that people will watch him. He was not watched. He didn't fear that he will be imprisoned because the woman had power to keep him away from prison. He was inside the house, so no one was watching him. He had this woman come into the room and she locked the door and she said to him, do as you please with me. Do as you please with me. So he had the opportunity with a young woman full of power, full of richness, and there was no reputation to be worried about. He was a slave that even if people did find out that he had committed zina with Allah, no one would care. He's a slave. In fact, Imra'atul Aziz, she has more to lose because he is a slave and she is a noble woman. How would a noble woman, seduce a slave? He had all the opportunity, brothers and sisters. More opportunity than any one of you could ever have. And in fact, he had nothing to fear. Nothing to lose. Every opportunity to commit an act of haram. But there was only one thing which prevented him. Who knows what that is? Huh? What was it that he feared? قال معاذ الله. Why? What does that mean? He said, قال معاذ الله. He said, I seek refuge with Allah. That was the only thing that prevented him, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah says, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. She wanted and desired to do something haram with him. And Yusuf almost desired, if he had not seen the sign